guys, so I've been in India now for over 6 weeks, and I actually want to make today's video to be really upfront and honest with all of you about my experience. I've had lots of people ask me what's India like, and of the 35 countries I've been to, there's no country more complex to explain the experience of than India. I've been overwhelmed, I've been enamored and in awe and in love, I've been stressed out. Like, it's been such a variety of emotions that I want to tell you, first of all, the stuff that I didn't like about India and that might be a bit overwhelming as a foreigner coming here. But then please keep watching, because I want to tell you why I love it and why the fact that I'm leaving today makes me so sad. So here is a variety of emotions from me and the things that I've experienced in India. I want to first of all caveat this video with the fact that obviously India is a massive place and a super diverse place, and my experiences haven't been the same everywhere. From the East Coast to the West Coast, North and South are very, very different. So these are more my general observations. Some of the negatives are more present in like touristy areas, but yeah, let's do it. Be nice, be kind, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, so what I did expect from India is that it would be kind of dirty and kind of polluted, and honestly, I think this is true. There is quite a lot of like rubbish and trash on the ground. I've read about this. A lot of locals agree this is a problem. Part of it is sort of infrastructure. I think some of it's cultural as well. I don't really know like all the drivers of this, but at first I was kind of confronted by just the amount of like rubbish and plastic and stuff like on the grounds. Definitely worse in some cities, but yeah. Also the air pollution, it does feel kind of dirty, particularly in places like Delhi. You just feel kind of grotty and gritty, and you're washing your hands a lot and your face is kind of dirty. And yeah, to be honest, in my experience, and I guess linked to that air pollution thing, is traffic. Traffic is bad. There's a lot of people here. You put 1.4 billion people in a country, and a lot of them have cars. There is heaps and heaps of traffic. Again, this is way worse in the big cities. The smaller cities aren't as intense, but crossing the roads isn't always an easy feat. Walking around, there's a lot of traffic noise, and a lot of Airbnbs and hotels I've stayed in. You can often hear the traffic. You're generally aware that you're living in a highly densely populated country. So be prepped for noise and traffic. And yeah, with that, it's noisy. It's a really, really noisy place to be. Chaotic, it's noisy. Traffic is obviously a big driver of noise, but you'll see someone angle grinding on the side of the road. There's random manufacturing happening. There's a lot of people around having conversations, big groups everywhere, lots of things going on, noises. It is a loud place to be, and if you're kind of sensitive to that thing or not really into a noisy place, I think that these cities in India might get kind of grating, especially if you're here for a while. I think there's obviously smaller, quieter places in India. I've been to a lot of big cities while I've been here, but yeah, lots of noise. Something I found pretty confronting about India is the wealth inequality. I mean, you do hear about this before you come, that there's going to be beggars and homelessness and things like that. It's absolutely the case. I know this is also the case in a lot of countries, so I don't want to just call India out on this, but you do see quite a few people sort of struggling financially, but then you go to these places with these grand displays of wealth, you know, like the most expensive house in the world is in Mumbai. You have these palaces, like the concentration of wealth is crazy. I noticed this particularly in Delhi. Like New Delhi is like the richest place I think I've ever been in my life, and then you walk a few streets away and it can be kind of confronting that it isn't the case, that everyone sort of has what they need. Okay, something that can be pretty overwhelming is people try to sell you stuff. So first of all, when you get out at the airport or at any train station or whatever, tuk-tuk drivers can be really full on. I mean, I'm in Kolkata at the moment where they're less of a thing, but in most other places I've been to, God, they're intense. You get off at a train station and there's porters everywhere trying to grab your bags, trying to charge you money for things. It's just can be quite a lot. Again, that can happen in a lot of places, but when you're like tired and hot and overwhelmed and there's 50 porters around you and people yelling tuk-tuk at you and it's all happening and you're saying no and they won't stop, like it can be a pretty overstimulating experience. Another reason that India's probably not for everyone, or people might struggle with it, is just the lack of price transparency. And I didn't expect this, but it did kind of get a bit grating, where you'll want to buy something and then you won't know how much anything costs. And a lot of the time, and again, obviously different in different areas, but the sellers will just say some random number. There might actually be an MRP, which is like a legal price for the item, but the seller might not always say this, and it's like every single time you're making a purchase, you've kind of got to be on edge or like on guard to make sure you're getting charged the right thing, and you've got to get comfortable with bargaining for stuff. The bargaining for me, I found really tough being Australian, which is like a very English country. It's a very polite place where you just sort of pay what people ask for. So having to be kind of assertive in that way and like about pricing was really uncomfortable for me. I got better at it, but yeah, you do need to get comfortable with pricing or otherwise pay like 2 or 3 times sometimes what you need to pay. We got over 10 different trains between different cities in India in our time here, and all but one of them were late. So something that can be a little bit grating when you're organising a trip is that you probably shouldn't organise anything else to do on a day you're getting a train, because one of our trains is like 8 hours late, for example. And this seems pretty common from what I'm reading. So it can be a little bit frustrating if you're the kind of traveller that likes to be very punctual and likes to be very organised and wants to organise multiple things on a day, is that once you're considering these big trains, could all go out the window in terms of your plans. So that definitely isn't easy. Okay, this one isn't major, but might be for you, is that I would say a good 85 or 90% of the toilets I've used in public places are in a pretty not ideal situation, pretty dirty, can be kind of gross, honestly, especially on like trains, but even on like restaurants and cafes and stuff like that. So a lot of people chewing tobacco and also betel, which means that they spit a lot. Not everybody, obviously, and not everywhere, but most places I've been to, you need to get pretty comfortable with the fact that you'll have a tuk-tuk driver spitting out the side of the tuk-tuk pretty frequently, or a lot of people spitting, a lot of stains on the sides of walls. It's like this kind of orangey red color because people are spitting there. Okay, so you might think, Jade, you just rattled through solid minutes of complaining about things that were overwhelming and disgusted you and confronted you about India. Why do you love it so much, and why are you so emotional to leave today? So let's do it, because there is so many reasons to come to India, and there is so much to love about this country. So here goes. Okay, so first up, I know I've spoken about noise and chaos. I'm gonna put that in a reason why I absolutely love this country. I've not been to a single place in India where I've been bored or where there's been a lack of stimulation. There is people everywhere, there's things everywhere. It's so amazing. There's always people going and doing all of their things, and traffic, and it's so chaotic. It's amazing, it's magical, it's vibrant, it's alive. It's just such an amazing living and breathing place where people use the public places, people are out and about, people are hanging out in groups, everyone's around. I love it. Like, it's not this individualist, like sit in your own apartment kind of place. Like this country is alive and I love it. Like, this country is alive and I love it. So obviously this needs to be high on my list, but the food is so good. Like, I know people say about a lot of places, oh, the food's good, but India is next level. I honestly didn't even think I cared that much about food, but the kinds of cuisines I've had here, the types of food, the experiences around food are things that I won't forget. The flavors, the depth, the spices, like these flavors I've never experienced in my life. I eat a lot of Indian food in Australia, and we have a lot of Indian people living in our area, and it's still nothing like what you experience here. The freshness of every ingredient, then the love and the passion that the people are cooking with it. It's amazing. The people that will invite you into the kitchen to give you a bit of a cooking demonstration while they're making your dinner, like the sharing of food, the love of food, the taste of food. I could talk about the food thing for a really, really long time, but if you like Indian food, coming to India will change your life. Maybe spoil food for you elsewhere, because I don't know where I'm gonna eat food this good again, but oh my God, the food is like life-changing. I have never felt hospitality like I have in India. People are so friendly in so many countries that I've been in, but in India it's like next level. You stay at these guest houses and the people that own them take you in, and you feel like you're legitimately part of their family. You go to a restaurant and you're meeting, you know, the restaurant owner's parents and children, and they're all sitting around and you're chatting to everybody, and you feel so welcome, and everybody wants you to love your experience in India, and they will do anything they can for you to have a positive experience. Like, I've never felt so welcomed and home in a country just because of the people and the hospitality. It's truly an exceptional thing to experience. And like, similar to that, you'll be taken in as family to people. There's been cases I've been walking around and then some family will start chatting to me, and then before I know it, I'm inside their temple being fed dinner and eating with my hands on the ground, or I'm FaceTiming with some guy's entire family because he wants to show off me to his kids, or there's just so many experiences that I've had where I've kind of been in disbelief that people are so nice, and that I've felt like I've had family in every single place I've been. There's been no moment in my time in India where I felt like I've been lacking connection, which is amazing because traveling can sometimes be a bit lonely, but never, ever, ever in India. Anyone you talk to, you can befriend and become family instantly. It's so, so remarkable. Like, it's so hard to explain. So this is one that I honestly didn't expect to be putting in my pros list, but man, this country feels really, really safe. Like, so much safer than I expected. I know that this is probably different in different areas, and I can only speak from my own experience, but it's currently like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm just wandering around the streets by myself. There's been a fair few cities where I've just wandered the streets, gone to the gym by myself. I'll just, get a tuk-tuk to some random gym, go to the gym for a session, come home, absolutely fine, go for a walk while my husband's in the apartment, like, no stress. I haven't had any negative experiences, but I just want to sort of be a voice that not everybody experiences these things, and there's absolutely safe places here. Particularly, Kolkata feels really safe, Mumbai felt really safe, a lot of places in Rajasthan felt really safe. I was actually honestly a little bit nervous about that, and I'm really, really glad to say, like, it does feel safe. People are friendly, and because there's so many people around as well and you're never alone, it does feel quite safe. So yeah, do obviously your own research, but I'm really relieved to say, like, it really does feel like home, and I'm not having to stress about like going for a walk by myself. As a classic Australian, I have to put this in here, but how good is it how much the Indian people love cricket? Every park you go to, you'll see a bunch of kids playing cricket. People hear that I'm Australian and they want to chat about cricket too, which is absolutely fantastic. But it also kind of ties this whole like family values and friendship values that you'll always see these big groups of people together. But yeah, you go to parks and everyone just happens to have like 20 family and friends to play cricket with, which is absolutely fantastic. So it feels like it's a very social country. Obviously cricket's often at the heart of it, but I love it that everyone's always out with their mates. I love this one. Indian people are hilarious. Like, the sense of humour here is so good. I think it's actually pretty similar to the Australian sense of humour. You can really take the piss. It's really, really good. People are funny, people are sarcastic. I love it. I feel very comfortable with Indian people, and I feel like it's one of the reasons I've made so many friends here. It's a very easy place to travel because people are very funny and laid back and relaxed and just like easy to get along with. So I guess I'd heard that like when you go to India, people will take photos of you as a white person. But what's been so like delightful is people want to take photos with you and like how beautiful and happy and friendly they are. So I guess I kind of expected it to be a bit like sinister, people taking photos and stuff. That hasn't happened at all. Like, it'll be some little kid will run up to you and be like, oh my God, can I take a photo? And then like shyly, the entire family will emerge and they all want to get a photo with you. And it's just the sweetest experience. They're so happy to meet you. It's incredible. Like, I've never felt like a celebrity like this. I think in my time in India, I've gotten literally hundreds of selfies with friendly people that we've met because now I'm getting photos with them as well as them getting photos with us. I think it's great. I don't know why foreigners would ever complain about this. It's an awesome way to meet people, to start conversations with the locals. It's really, really nice. And I've often like become friends with people and ended up like having dinner with them and stuff. It's so friendly. So yeah, people do take photos with you, but I'm actually going to kind of miss feeling like a celebrity and making random local friends. And I guess in being a white person in places that are a bit more remote, I've loved just walking around and then there's just like strings of kids like waving and smiling and saying hello, and it's so friendly and it's so lovely and I love it, and it makes me sad that I'm gonna leave because like, God, Indian people are so nice. So I've technically spent over 6 weeks in this country, but it's felt like going to so many different countries. I love the diversity of India. Every single place you go to, there's different food, there's different people, different languages, different religions. Like, it's so diverse and I love that about it. Like, obviously 6 weeks isn't enough time to explore India at all, but it's so awesome that like you get such a breadth of places and things to see and people to meet and all this kind of stuff in traveling here. I knew it was like a bit of a diverse country and food was different north to south, but man, it is so much different, which is so beautiful and charming and distinctly Indian. No matter where you go, it's different, but it's like a magical country. So it's actually a country that's pretty easy to travel around, which is fantastic. There's obviously a lot of domestic tourism, given there's 1.4 billion people are moving around, but as well as like foreign tourism and things like that as well, which means that the trains are really well set up, so there's heaps of infrastructure to get around the country. Obviously, as I've said, they're often late, but that's cool. They exist, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of really cheap domestic flights as well. So it's the kind of place that is pretty logistically simple to do and travel around, which is cool. So I've talked a lot about how nice Indian people are, and I honestly can't help but rave about this because it's something I've loved so much. But not only are they like really nice and hospitable, is that they're really helpful. So things like trains and flights, or literally anywhere that I've been, it's always so easy just to ask somebody for help and people will point you in the right direction. You won't get lost. Like, it feels like you've got a lot of support around you and you're not like alone and vulnerable and things like that. Like, you can always ask, where's the train platform? That kind of thing, which is so fantastic. Also, a lot of people speak English. Pretty much everyone has spoken English, which again, selfishly as a foreigner, that makes it so much easier for me to travel here because I've got that sort of independence where I can talk to people really easily. People understand me, and being able to communicate is something I don't take for granted. I was traveling to a lot of non-English speaking countries. I can't talk about the things I love about India without talking about cows. I love cows. I mean, I love all animals, but I particularly love cows. And it's something fantastic about walking around in these cities and being like, oh, I've got to move out of the way for this cow. It's so cool. They're so cute. Granted, there's not enough cows in Kolkata or Delhi, but pretty much everywhere else I've been, there's been heaps and heaps of cows, which is fantastic. They're so cute. I love that they're considered holy as well. It's fantastic. So yeah, if you like cows, you'll love India. This one, I didn't really expect too much, given that we didn't really do some big, self-discovery trip to India. It was more just about kind of experiencing the culture. But we've still learned so much about like life and death and the human experience here. Particularly my trip to Varanasi stands out, about seeing the cremations and learning about, the cycles of life and the great equalizer and these sorts of things. So I guess watch that if you're interested in learning more about it. But it was, I guess, confronting at times, but I have to put it in the bucket of things that I've loved. People are wise and smart. People you speak to, you learn a lot about life. It's a really nice place to come and reflect and meet these amazing people and kind of think about your life. Like, it is a beautiful place for that. It's very spiritual, so if you're into that kind of thing, it's abundant here. And his perfect timing as a guy walks past me trying to sell me chai is, you can always get a chai no matter where you are in India, what time it is. You're in some random park, you're in some desert, God knows where you are, there's always going to be some dude selling chai. The chai here is absolutely amazing. It's like spiced and warm and milky and sweet and oh my God, amazing. Every tour I've done, I've gotten a chai beforehand. Every time I've made friends, we'll go get a chai when you first meet somebody. It's incredible. So I'm gonna miss the chai, but yeah, embrace that. Like, enjoy it. It's something magical about the culture. And I know some of you are vegetarian because it's for the content I put out. I can't recommend enough coming to India if you're vegetarian. A lot of the places I've traveled, I've felt like an inconvenience because I don't eat meat. It's a real source of stress. Like, where am I going to eat? I don't want to eat a single another cheese pizza, like these kinds of things. But in India, a lot of the default food is vegetarian, especially up in Rajasthan. And it's so nice going to a place, it's like some really highly regarded restaurant, and then realizing halfway through in the menu that of course there's no meat on there, because it's actually restaurants that are flagged as non-veg, which is a terminology I'd never actually heard. Incredible. And the veg food is mind-blowing. Like, I didn't realize how much I loved food, but also how much of a source of stress it was to try to find vegetarian food traveling. Until it had all been lifted, I feel validated. It's just something so nice to not have to think about. So any veg friends, you need to come to India. It will change your perspective on things and give you lots of recipe ideas. I can't wait to go home and try to cook Indian. Okay, so that's it. So I know it is a lot to take in. It's for me. Okay, so that's it. It's honestly been a little bit of an overwhelming month, having these moments where I'm so happy I want to cry and I never want to leave and I feel like I'm home. But then also these moments of being so confronted and not quite knowing what to do and a little bit overwhelmed and all of this. So I hope that I've kind of captured that here and been relatively balanced and fair. I didn't want this to just be a video where I'm criticizing all the stuff about India or making it seem like some gross, disgusting place you shouldn't travel to, because it honestly is such an awesome place full of amazing people beautiful experiences, to have delicious food, outstanding culture, so much to learn, so much to soak in. So like, please don't let any of these negatives deter you from coming. Just, I guess, be prepared, have a bit of a think about why you're coming to India. I'm going to do a tips video as well, so you can watch that too to get prepared for your time here. But man, I love this country. Like, I genuinely love being in India, and I can't believe I'm leaving today. So I'm getting a little bit sad. Anyway, I'll leave it here. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you could subscribe to my videos, that would be just exceptional. And I'll see you soon on my next videos. Who knows where in the world I'll be. Bye.